Okay, so I'm going to start answering some of the questions so we can narrow it down to a few core questions when we actually do get some time with Barbara Walter. But I'll be using clips of her talking to do the answering. So here goes the first one. Is the U.S. on the verge of civil war?
And I guess the question is America right now closer to civil war than most folks might think?
Yes, it is. I wish I didn't have to say that, but it's true. And I'll tell you why we know that. I've been studying civil wars for 30 years. 2017 to 2021, I was on a task force that's run by the US government. It's called the Political Instability Task Force. And our job on that task force was to come up with a predictive model that helped the US government predict where around the world countries were likely to experience political instability and political violence. And we sat around and we thought about what are all the possible factors that could put a country at risk of civil war. And we thought of some common ones or commonsensical ones like poverty or how ethnically diverse a country was or whether there was deep income inequality. We actually thought of over 50 different variables that might matter. And we put them into a model, and it turns out, to our great surprise, that only two came out highly predictive.
So pay attention to that. Of 50, only 2 are highly predictive.
The first was what we call anocracy, and that's a fancy term for partial democracy. It's countries whose governments are neither fully democratic nor fully autocratic. You could think of them as partial democracies, failing democracies. Fareed Zakaria calls them illiberal democracies. Most people think that governments are either democratic or autocratic, but there's really this continuum, and it's the governments that are in the middle that are the most unstable and the most violence prone.
To judge this, they use something called the polity scale. The polity scale ranges from positive 10 to negative 10. Positive 10 is fully democratic. 9, 8, 7, 6 are democracy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 are anocracy. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5 are anocracy. Negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, and negative 9 are autocracy. And negative 10 is fully autocratic. In 2017, we were a democracy, but the number has gone down.
The second factor is whether a country's population begins to organize itself politically, not around ideology, but around identity, whether it's ethnic identity, religious identity, or racial identity. And if you put partial democracy together with this sort of ethnic factionalizing, those are the countries that are most at risk of civil war.